is
Okay.
what he told me.
Who else do we have there? Is that,
I'm Tom Olson with the Conservation Commission.
hi, Tom. Very, very complete study on the stewardship plan for the open space for Copp.
I agree.
That-
That was very nicely done.
Is that Tacona? Is it?
Yes.
Okay. I just can't, it doesn't focus well here, so.
Oh, what am I
I
doing?
was just gonna say, John should be here. I saw him a few days ago.
I would have been here sooner, but
Speak of the devil. The parking out there is unbelievable.
so tough.
Yeah, well, there's a RTM.
There's two RTM meetings, so
Yeah, and then there's.
the fire department and then the light people.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Neil.
Groton.
Plus us. So you got a quorum now?
So let me, first of all, thank you for delaying this meeting. Sorry I'm late. The reason you delayed this meeting was I'm a mentor and tonight was a mentor dinner. And I was told as late as yesterday that my mentee was not going to be there. So I was saying, well, I'll just casually get ready to come down here. At what, 6 or 5:30, Robbie gets a call. The mentee's here, he's in tears. This is an 8th grade. You know, I mean, this is an 8th grade kid who has got to be probably the most depressed kid I've ever seen. I've been working with him for 3 years and can't say I've accomplished a whole heck of a lot, but. So,
Yeah, John, I was in that, is that the school system mentorship program?
it's, yeah, through the Groton school system.
Yeah. I was involved with that for several years and I had 4 different kids and it's depressing. It's depressing. You try to cheer them up and they, you know, I didn't gain much, I'm afraid to say, you know, with them. They didn't gain much.
It's a lot of, I mean, kids, I actually do twice a week. I have 2 different kids. But it is, when you stay with them, you know, next year I'll be at high school with Justin, so. Needless to say, thank you for your patience. Yes, we do have. Dom said he's gonna be late. I don't know who the alternate for Dom is, but I guess we can start and we'll just go through the stuff that's here.
John, Tom has another meeting at 7. Would it be possible to adjust the agenda so that Tom also can do his presentation?
We'd be happy to.
Appreciate that.
On Zoom, Andy and Ray, we're gonna have a presentation to start the meeting, and then we'll go to the regular agenda.
Oh,
Can you hear me? Ray, Andy? Hi, Andy.
I got you.
Well, I appreciate that. Tom Olson with the Conservation Commission. I'll give you a little background. The Conservation Commission back when we approved our update to the town open space conservation plan, added a section in there where we developed a stewardship program for the properties that the Conservation Commission is basically taking responsibility for long-term stewardship. That includes properties such as that are not part of the Board of Education, Parks and Rec, Public Works. So there's things like this, the Joel property across the street from Sneakers. That parcel, nobody's responsible for it. It's just there. It's just with the dedicated open space area that's not being serviced. But there's people like, there's an encampment there of people and stuff that was homeless and stuff that was going on and nobody really recognized. And so, you know, without having regular ownership, we developed a plans for each of the major properties. There's 14 of these plans. We posted them up on our conservation's website. And then over the last 3 years, we've been working, the Conservation Commission has been working with College with student projects there to help review these stewardship plans and then improve them. And one of the improvements is trying to develop an automated tracking system this year. And we've worked with Tabitha from works for the Parks and Rec Department as far as to make sure that we're consistent with what Parks and Rec is doing on how they're tracking all their property, which includes the Copp. And she recommended that the students kind of take a look at Copp to be the trial so that it'd be useful both to the Conservation Commission as well as the Parks and Rec Department. And so because I hadn't developed a plan for any of the Parks and Rec maintained properties, Tabitha asked, could I do one so we have a similar guidance between the two different types of properties. So I've done 14 of these. This only took me about an hour and a half to put together. And so, putting all the information. So this has been reviewed now by Tabitha from Parks and Rec. She approved it. The Conservation Commission reviewed it and approved it on the 7th of April. And now we're just letting you guys know that what we're doing, so just so you can have this to be aware of what's going on with it. And Mark asked me to make a presentation here today to answer any questions, and we can change this if you would like, because there's it's really it's a dual product for both the Conservation Commission as well as the Parks and Rec Department. But this is why it has all the normal standard stuff. This was based on, as I told you before, a format between how Groton Open Space is managing their plan and what Apollonia is doing with their plan. It has all the same highlighted areas in a structured format to make sure that is. And then we just update it for each of the different properties with the specializations, whether it's got the type of trails on it or the type of soils and all this type of the diversity. And I can say that this is a very typical one. I would say if I had to, say this is an average stewardship plan, and as far as taking a look at what sections are in here, and we put the 10-year management timeline together here to take a look at it. This is really going to be action by mostly by the Parks and Rec Department, but also potentially with the kind of college students. So that's where this is all coming from. And if you have comments, I'll gladly take them, or if you want, and I don't know how you want to handle it relative approvals or whatever. I'm not looking for anything to ask for actions that I think, but I think this is more for informational facts as far as on how this Parks and Rec stewardship is going to be handled in the future.
Yeah, well, I think it's really up to the Copp Board of Overseers to decide whether they will formally approve it or so.
I think you've only got it's only 2 years, right? You only two.
Plus two. Remote.
No. Well, is Ray one? Yeah. Oh, okay. You got 3, then you do it.
I think we have a quorum for don't we?
Yeah, for.
Copp Board of Overseers.
No, you're missing John and you're missing Ellen. Unless Ellen.
There's nobody waiting
But there's 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, once it's town.
Missing Alan. We have 3. So
Yeah. I had a couple of questions. I reviewed it quickly. It's a lot in there. I couldn't see any of those last 2 or 3 I don't know if they're spreadsheets, graphs.
What the last Appendix B is the municipal stormwater. It's an audit guide. It's kind of micro print. I won't argue that because this is we get this directly from the Public Works, Michelle Maitland at Public Works. This is her formatted thing, and we just insert the document into here. If you actually go to the MS4 website, part of Public Works, you get the actual form and it blows it all up. All I do is I snapshot it and put it in here to tell some folks that Michelle may ask you to go do an audit, so you know at least that that's what the purpose of the MS4 audit guide is. And what for open space areas. There's different audit guides for different things with the MS4 program, but this is for the open space, for dedicated open space checks.
Who?
So there's
Excuse me, Tom. who actually prepared this? Did you have a consultant do it, or do you have technical?
No, I
ability?
personally did this all myself.
Whoa, wow.
Yeah.
Because I've done all 14, this is the 15th one of these I've developed for the town.
Oh, gee. Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's so
Yeah.
complete.
It is, it's great.
I figured you paid tens of thousands of dollars to have some consultant do it.
It's
No.
zero cost.
Jeez.
The only comment I had on the natural diversity database is you come very close to having a full Mickey Mouse picture, but you sort of,
Oh, yeah. This picture right here. This is the NDVB stuff comes from the state of Connecticut. And this is actually downloaded to the town GIS. And all I do is
Okay.
just screen capture this from the town GIS.
yeah. Yeah, it's very complete. It's very, yeah. I also, I agree with Ray. I couldn't find a magnifying glass, so I couldn't read anything in the watershed or sewer part of it.
I like the sign that showed up in the picture, future, what is it, entrance to the Tri-Town Trail.
This is the sign that you guys approved last year.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
was here at this meeting last year, and this is the sign you guys approved, and that got produced, and I put this in the ground a couple months, I think it was in August of last year.
Should send it to Groton Utilities with that picture paramount.
Yeah, we're internally hopeful. That's where my other hat, my Tri-Town Trail, that's where I'm supposed to go to next. So that's why I appreciate you guys doing that.
I will also say from being out in the back there that whatever concerns they have, I understand some of that with the dogs and being down there, but they put a lot of signs on Copp property.
You know, Andy, I think so too. I've walked that several times, and way back, I got a survey from Gary Schneider, I believe, that showed there was a little bit of incursion up there in the high ground near on the peak of the Yellow Trail, but all
Yeah.
that other stuff they seem to have inundated. But if you look on the topographical maps, it shows Copp property respecting where Groton Utilities have put those signs. So I don't know what the answer is.
Okay.
You know, I was concerned about this initially. I just don't know.
It's very confusing when you see
Yeah,
it
yeah.
because they're so far into the property.
It seems like that, yeah.
Anyway,
A motion from the top board itself,
It's up to the copy.
top board members, do you want to take action or just leave it as it is?
I haven't had a chance to read it in depth, like I really, just like that, so I'd so like to table this till the next meeting, particularly so we can have the other two members comment on it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm in favor of it, I'll just assume if they have any comments, we have no choice.
I have just for information, the students were using this in the draft mode, which is fine. And I think Tabitha has this, and so the people that are using it already, so it's in run mode already, just to let you know.
So is there a way to blow up the MS4
I can,
inspection?
Yeah.
Well, is there a way to, I'll just talk to Michelle and maybe I can resend that.
Yeah.
Since,
that was the only questions about the
Yeah.
details.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because I just screenshot this, but
okay, all right, I'll talk to Michelle.
Michelle's the one that has the master of this.
Okay.
Because that's a staff thing. I'll let you staff these. Okay. Sounds like I'm good to go.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Anybody want to?
Thank you, Tom. Good work.
yeah, it's really nicely done.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Moving to the agenda. I guess Ray knows who's here, who isn't. A lot of the citizens here. Who has some minutes from our last meeting? Someone like to take action? Jim says. Jim says he'll move to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Dick says second. All in favor of the minutes?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Delayed. When you're on Zoom, it's delayed. Reports. Mr. Berry?
Okay, so we'll start off with parks, and we'll start off with the Copp Family Park. We have a contractor for to do the improvements on the trail. The improvements are going to go from that first Y where the stone dust stops, all the way past the dog park, loop into the woods a little bit, and then connect to the bridge. And then on the other side of the bridge, it's going to go all the way out to that, out to and past the area where the stream crosses. So that is going to be the extent of the work. We met with the contractor a few weeks ago. The bids all came in higher than what we had budgeted for, but we were able to work with the contractor. We're going to narrow, he suggested that we narrow the trail down to 9 feet instead of 10 feet, which allows us to go further. Allows us to do trail work further into the park. Like I said, I'm not sure when that's going to start, but I would guess he thought it would take about a month, 3 weeks to a month to do. It may at this point just be advisable to wait until fall when use kind of slows down again. So we'll see about that.
And you got that from Grant?
Yes, that was a recreation trails grant. Yes, so, yeah. We continue.
Excuse me. Hello, Ellen.
So it's good. Okay. All right. We're continuing to work with the Southeast Connecticut Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired on coming up with kind of an adaptive trail for the blind and visually impaired. Out at Farquhar, we put in a new playground, and we're waiting to put in the safety circus. And that will be phase 1 of the project. Phase 2 will take place this fall, and we're going to put in 2 dedicated handicap parking spots, and also put in a paved path that will connect to the new playground and also connect to the basketball courts, just to improve accessibility. At Sutton Park, we're finalizing the construction drawings and getting ready to go out to bid. That's to do renovations to the skate park, also replace the playground, put in the second basketball court, put in the new bathroom. We haven't had a bathroom there in 20 years, I think. And also put in a multi-use path that's going to connect from the path that's on Route 1. It's going to go through Sutton Park and connect over to Midway Open. At Quantic Plains Park, we are in the early stages of planning to replace that park. The playground. The playground was put in 2007. I think it opened in 2008. Right, John? Anybody that drives by on a nice day, I mean, you'll see 70 cars. It's just packed, and it's with all of that use, it's worn out. There are pieces that have broken that we haven't replaced because of the cost. I don't know if I've described the playground. It's like a printer. You know, you buy a printer and then you go to replace the toner, and the toner is more than the printer. Well, all of these pieces, it's just crazy how much playground parts are. So it needs to be replaced. John is actually on a committee with some other folks to fundraise, and we're also in the town in the FYE 27 budget. So this is a project. Didn't want to hear with some of the conceptual plans. We have done an extensive amount of community engagement. There's been a number of, that we've been present at and have a QR code set up so that people can provide feedback. Based on that feedback, we put this. Just to be clear, what it's going to, a conceptual plan of what it's going to look like. I do want to note that we're planning to put in another bathroom closer to the playground. Because the idea that had when the kids gotta go, you know, taking it all the way over to the other side just isn't gonna work. Well, that's true. Good point. And we're also, when we did the recreational needs assessment, one of the facilities came up very high for a need in the community was a splash pad. So we have proposed.
Call first, we have a structured fire, not alarm plus. We want you to come on a structured fire, right?
Mark, could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
The replacement at Paquonic Plains is what? Not the whole park? What?
No,
what?
just playground.
Just the playground. Okay, gotcha.
Playground, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
For those of you that have been around here, we're putting in 6 pickleball courts. They down the first course of pavement last week. They're doing the second course tomorrow. It will sit idle for a month to allow the oils that are in the pavement to come out.
Yeah.
And then and we've already started putting up some of the poles for the fencing. So we expect probably mid-July, weather depending, it will open up.
Okay, thanks.
In addition to the pickleball project, we also got money a couple of years ago to do a walking path. That's going to go around the open space, the field that's out behind the library. So there'll be a loop there for folks to walk around. Bike Groton, which is a bike advocacy group, has been doing fundraising to build a bicycle pump track that's going down on Depot Road. The town has also contributed money to that project, and that's getting ready to start in probably the next month or so.
I think this is Brian in stage, so.
Yeah,
I think it's been a couple of years.
it has. They've raised $80,000, and a lot of them, you know, have been $25 contributions, and so there's been a lot of public interest, and the town has supported this project. The town has also contributed $80,000 to the project. Out at the golf course, the maintenance building is being. A new shell is going on, so there's a new roof and new siding. There's holes in the roof, there's holes in the siding. I don't know how long it's been. Yeah, so that's going on. In the recreation division, because of the cost of food, every single one of our plots in the community garden are full this year. This is the first time that's happened. I think we have 65 plots out behind Human Services and 20 some odd up at Knowing Park where the school used to be. Last fall, we built a traffic garden next to Quadchester School. So it is a traffic garden is designed to help young kids kind of understand the rules of the road, like where you need to stop. When you come to crosswalks, you should stop. We have a big event coming up on May 18th That we've invited, there's a gentleman in town that instructs kids on how to safely ride. And we're gonna be giving out helmets, and Bike Groton actually has bikes to give away to kids that maybe are riding a bike that they really shouldn't be. So it's Sunday, May 18th, I think, from 12 to 4. Summer concerts are coming up in just 4 weeks. It's hard to believe. And we're also doing movies in the park this year. And let's see, future projects, we have, we're fixing the Perizardi boat launch, which is over at Calvin Burrows. The problem with that boat launch now is the ramp is too short. And fishermen or boaters that are trailering boats, in order to get their boat into the water, they end up having to drive off the ramp. And there's a sizable drop. And so with this new, with the new ramp, it's gonna go out further into the water. And it will avoid that problem. And we also have in the budget for FY 26, money to renovate the fields at the community center. We made renovations to one of the fields 2 years ago. The backfield needs to be renovated also. It's in terrible shape. In fact, I think the soccer league refuses to play there, so bad. So, that is kind of a summary of what's going on in Parks and Recreation.
It's like Don is here.
Yeah.
Good timing, we just get through the, time to go home.
Great meeting, guys. Thank you.
I think by locking you guys on here, Rob.
Don, would you like to make a motion to adjourn? No.
Yeah, I agree to that point.
Heck,
I'll
what?
start again. How's everybody doing?
All right. So I don't know if there's any questions. I know I went through a lot quickly, but.
Good job.
Don, welcome.
Thank you.
Now we have the whole board here. Earlier in the, we had Tom, I can't remember what his name is, but Tom Olson from the Planning Commission.
Conservation.
Conservation, okay. Thank you, Jim and Mark. Was here making a presentation on the stewardship plan. And at the time, there was only 3 top board members here, so they tabled it. And the next meeting, assuming all of you have a chance to see it, it doesn't really need to have a vote, but I think we prefer to have the top board endorse it, so. Put that on the next agenda. We're actually down to reports. Mark just gave his down. The next is the report of the walks. Observations. I don't know if you want to ask them for their walks. Or
Anybody have any observations? At any of the walks they've had recently?
I was out in December and actually went out, and a new white trail, which is on the maps, was kind of beat up, overgrown. So I went out there, and indeed it was overgrown. So did communicate with Tabitha, runs your maintenance program, right?
Yes.
For Parks and Rec, and copy you, and said I'd be willing to go out and reblaze it because it was even hard for me to find my way around. So I reblazed, and then they were out to cut it back, did a great job. So that's been restored. I was assigned in February, but I put that off a little bit just because I'm not sure if everyone else has been doing it. So I'm quite willing to twice a year go out there and kind of be the point guy if that's okay with everyone else. But I think instead of December, February, I was actually thinking of going out this Friday, do a follow-up. But things look good out there. I mean, the views Parks stays right on.
I went out in mid-March, maybe. And it
It
was, the only observation I had was for that time of year, for very early spring, it was incredibly dry in the way back. There was no way you could walk anywhere without getting, any heat, even damp, which is pretty rare. And the signs, which I think I can't quite figure out why they're so far into the park, but anyway, those were my observations.
I want people that live here. I want people that will make a commitment. I can't make them sign some kind of waiver.
I walk out there frequently. I don't know, every 2, 3 weeks. It's a great place to walk. The thing is, I see very few people there except to and from the dog park. That's very popular, and we stay away from it. My dog doesn't. I don't want to get my dog involved with that, frankly. We do the hike. We do around different trails, and I didn't see anything notable. If you're asking about the conditions, needs repair. I guess my month is May, so I go out there with a real maybe fine tooth comb this month and report back to you, Mark.
I actually saw quite a few when I was there, quite a few people in what were the old fields. They didn't go in the back trails, but
Right.
did a loop and with dogs. There were a lot of I saw
Oh.
quite a few people out there
Hmm.
with their dogs.
It's no different with this. If you make it interesting enough, then they'll sign up for it.
Hey, Paul isn't here, but he did send that finance report, treasurer's report. Hope you all had a chance to look at that. We're solid, we don't have much money, but we do have some money and
Yeah, I actually had a question on it. There's like $30,000 in the account. Is that right?
yes.
And how long does that sit there? How quickly does that get spent down?
Oh, it sits there forever. Some of the money in here,
Yeah, 12,884.75 was committed to specific items.
Yeah, see that, yeah, that's what it's unclear to me, but I mean, you might as well put it in a like CD or something if it's not being spent.
yeah.
They're playing 4.5%, 5%.
Last time, there is some money in here for special needs programs. I'm not sure how quickly that's getting spent, Mark.
Yeah, I
It's
just-
been there since the beginning.
I made a note to
Yeah.
let Eileen know about that, so if she's got a need that we ought to try to draw some of that money down. It's been sitting in there for a while.
There have been a lot of grants over the years that, they all have been used and
Yeah.
the extra just stayed there, so.
Right. Yeah.
I think all the money from the whole
Little area.
was taken out and turned over to the town, I believe. So that was like, I think, was $10,000. So that money is no longer in here.
For which project?
The purchase project, the whole.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and just to report, contributions made to the Groton Parks Foundation, or for the Groton Parks Foundation, but the checks were written out to the town. Totals $130. Between the last meeting and this meeting. And what we're gonna do is yearly cut a check. So we're gonna wait until the fall meeting and then cut a check to the Groton Parks Foundation. So there's 130 for the first 6 months, and we'll see what comes in over the next 6 months.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions? I think we normally make a motion to approve the finance report, so we have a motion to approve the finance report.
Make a motion.
I so move.
Don and Alan. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on.
Who seconded that, please?
Alan,
Alan,
He,
Alan,
Alan.
Alan.
well, who was first then?
Don,
Don made the motion.
Done. I made
Okay.
the motion.
Thanks.
But
you're welcome. You ready for another Luminaria Walk fundraiser? Thanks to Cindy, we had a Zoom. Or we had actually.
Oh, come on, jeez.
Alan and I think Ray were joining us on Zoom. Dick and myself were there among other staff members and volunteers. And we're looking at the 17th of October, which is a Friday night. You can put that on your calendar if you can help. We'd love to have you help. One thing that we did discuss is the possibility of utilizing some of the funds from the fundraising to help enhance the marketing, possibly buy some of the other supplies for the walk. If you wanna.
Yeah, we, had a very successful event last year. We finally got past the rain. Had about 100 people, a lot of business, parking lot was busy. We got some remote parking that we need to do a little better with signage. There was confusion, but it was busy the whole night. I think people enjoyed themselves, and we realized about $1,000. I believe that money is still with the town, hasn't come over to us. And when we did meet with Cindy and the group putting together this coming year's event, it was suggested that they could use some of that money for advertising, for little handouts, all that. So I guess I'd like to make a suggestion, and I need to make a motion. I'll make a motion to kind of roll the money that we realized last year into supporting this upcoming year's event. So, Parks and Rec has donated all types of time and equipment to this. So I think this is the least we can do is use this seed money. We have discussed a few things, the needs that I think would be useful this coming time around.
Dick has made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
You have 2 seconds.
Jim, is that Jim?
Let Jim have it.
That was Jim?
Any further discussion? Thanks Alan and Ray for being there because, it's good to have you guys join us and make some suggestions as well. So, as Dick said, the Mark staff has done one heck of a job of helping us all the way through this. So, guiding us. So the addition of you two helping us, hopefully the rest of you can join us in the future as well. So, all in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Motion is passed. Recreation Trails Grant, we already discussed that. By the way, Tamitha's done a heck of a job too with the, keeping updated. She's on that committee and, you're well aware of the grant, what it was gonna do and possibly help us maybe change of the path of the preliminary and when the project gets completed. So,
You know,
That's why I'm a little bit concerned when I see that word that, man, you can't even, again,
well, it doesn't sound like it'll be under construction. You know how construction goes. If it starts raining like it has been. But I think it's going to be an improvement. We have, actually, for everyone here, the Luminaria group is meeting on about a monthly basis between now and the event. So, and we will send emails out. In fact, you all should have an email right now. Cindy sent out a follow-up email. Cindy and I went to the Nature Center, did their Luminaria, just kind of spy on them back in December, and kind of did a hot wash after the event as far as what we thought the strengths were, where we needed to improve. And certainly once this new trail comes in, I think it's going to be a real benefit to have something that truly is stroller friendly out there. The trail we have right now is 95% stroller friendly and 5% mountain goat, so, but, yeah, please check your emails, for kind of a summary of, our meetings and discussions after the last event and where we're going in the future, hopefully going in the future.
Earlier, Mark mentioned the recreation of the Tercentennial Legacy Playground, and Hamilton is heading that committee, doing a great job, and you see Mark said there's been a lot of community outreach. However, when we did the first one, we learned that some of the organizations that we seek money from, usually other foundations, don't necessarily want to make a direct donation to the town. So the Groton Parks Foundation became the middleman again in the project, and I think the last one was about 40,000 that went through the Groton Parks Foundation. The rest of it was, well, some of it was state money and some was other donations. So, what I told the group I do is bring it before this group and ask that we have a motion. This is exactly similar to what we did with the Wolf. By the way, Wolf. My whole cards up for me. The Wolf project. Same deal. You know, if somebody doesn't want to make a direct donation to the town and they're willing to give it to us, you know, we take it and then we help pay the bills it was given us. So, somebody like to put a motion on before we do that.
So,
We have a second.
Second.
Any questions, concerns? Since most of us have been here for the last 20 years, you probably voted on the other one 20 years. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
John, as a tangent, you and Tabitha are sitting on a committee to fundraise for the new park, is that correct? I do development for Avalonia, and I have, you know, a lot of local foundations and stuff. I don't think this would be a conflict of interest if you wanted some of that information.
That would be wonderful.
Things like the Board Foundation and kitchens and all that.
You don't go to enough.
They may be
you don't
known
go
to you
enough
guys,
meetings.
and they may not. I'd be glad to pass on my extensive spreadsheet of
That would be wonderful.
places to head up. So get in touch with, I'll make a note to communicate with you, I guess, directly.
Yeah, and then.
Okay.
This process is gonna take a while, and
Yeah, there's
when we
a,
did it 20 years ago, it's become much more complicated in this day and age, so. So we have a bill to be a member of the Municipal Chamber of Commerce, and, Paul wanted us to take a vote on it, if we want to pay it or not. My suggestion is that we pay it. It's $175. Obviously, we have enough funding for it at this point in time. Anybody want to make a motion, or anybody want to not make?
Yeah, make a motion that we join the, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, we have in the past, but I think we missed a year or something. So, Don makes a motion that we renew our annual membership to the chamber.
I'll
Alan,
second it.
Alan seconds it. Have we done this before? Yeah, we did. I think last year we.
Andy has to abstain because he lives in Stonington. It's nearer Mystic than we are.
All in favor? Aye. I'll make sure that. All-
5 Things to Do in Stonington by Andy.
Yeah.
We're on the back sheet of the agenda. Top board required training.
My understanding is the, Robert's Rules of Order and the, freedom of information, all the Copp board members had to take that. Is that correct? Everybody do that? Sexual harassment, discrimination, sexual harassment?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're all good, up to date? Got
Have
your
a
certificate?
certificate and everything.
office, certificates are all hung proudly.
Oh, yeah. I made a poster out of it.
Had to take the grandkids' pictures down and hang it up.
It's on my resume now.
Yeah, exactly.
State requirement or just a town requirement that they want to upload.
Yeah, I mean,
And I don't think it was because there was any type of. It'd be proactive versus reactive.
that's, but everybody, when it took the process, I know I did it personally myself, so.
This decision required. That's why we're all volunteers. You're absolutely right. So the people who are volunteering, they're not signed up on a watch bill. They're not, signing their name that I'll be here all day Sunday. And they like that, right? But they live here.
Somebody's listening.
That's the hook, right? They live here.
Yep.
Except that they
So,
Okay.
Just go back to you.
Yeah, no, okay. I just wanted to double check and make sure everybody was, up to date on that.
This one, no, yeah, okay. The elections, does that go back to you?
Cop board, elections, we have nominate, if anyone want to nominate anyone, or we had three.
I'd like to recommend the existing slate.
I second.
Come in.
That's it.
We have a
All in
president.
favor? Aye. Well done.
Sorry. All right, all in favor of the existing slate continuing? For
Aye.
another
Aye.
months? No, year?
For life.
Yeah.
So, according to my Robert's Rules of Order, so moved.
Yeah.
Well, wait, I was supposed to have some discussion. Any discussion on the motion? No discussion being heard. All in favor? So
Aye.
moved.
So
Okay.
moved.
Now we have the same, motion with the Grand Parks Foundation. Before you make any decisions, let me inform you that I just, passed the grand age of 80.
Nobody's that young.
But who's counting?
So far, the mind and the body are still working. Hey, you used to be such a nice guy when you were younger, when you only 60.
If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
Okay, well, as long as I'm functioning, I'm happy to do it, so.
Well,
The group wants it done, so. So I guess we need some more motions.
All motion, a motion of the existing slate and make in place.
Notice how he does that? Keeps him out of there. You're very good, you got that one down. You got it for the last 20 years. For a second to the motion.
the
I'll
only
second
other,
that.
okay, yeah.
Why, you want a position, Andy?
No, the only other option that sometimes comes up is whoever's absent gets voted in.
That's why we're all here.
Paul's missing.
Oh, Paul doesn't have a choice. He's automatic treasurer no matter what happens.
They give us too much.
For God's sakes, don't take him out of that position.
Yeah, right.
Technical difficulties.
Didn't mean to interrupt the proceedings.
So, do we have any additional business that we'd like to cover on the screen? Off the screen,
I have two things.
Jim has two things.
We have had, in general, a walk that we advertise at the end of June every year. We're gonna try to do that again this year or not? Just curious.
We did something in place of that, right?
We've had it moved before because of rain, mosquitoes, whatever, but we typically try to do it last. We moved it in July, I'm just curious if anybody's interested. If they're gonna do it, when have they hoped to do it? I'd like to join in.
Yeah, I think it's always fun, except for the bugs and the rain.
The turnout hasn't been terrific.
No, last time, I don't know who showed up.
I think I showed up.
I showed up.
With your
That was
umbrella.
it.
and-
That might have been it.
No, we could, you want to pick a date? for Alan and Andy to walk in.
Yeah, right.
Family reunion.
There you go. I love that.
Everybody wants to go out with Alan and Andy. Why don't you guys pick a date and invite
Yeah,
us?
you have the furthest drive. So,
Yeah.
Well, guys, we could just as an alternative to avoid the bugs and the rain. We do walkthroughs before the luminaria, so if you
Ah.
wanted something like that in
Weather's
early
cooler.
October.
Okay.
And we could, show everyone exactly what we're doing for the luminaria and maybe expand it a little bit as the walk.
we could do it like right after.
Brilliant
Our
idea.
October meeting.
That's a good idea. Helps you
After
guys,
the,
helps
or
everybody.
maybe that's what we
We
did,
did it
was it
last
the,
year.
that's what we did last year.
The October meeting.
We did it the October meeting to get away from the bugs, the ants, the tsetse flies, and,
Do we do it before the meeting or?
Yes.
yeah, I think we did, we at
Yes.
4:30 or something like that,
Yeah.
and
It was before the meeting.
so maybe that would be good, and then we could definitely, we'll know exactly what we're doing for luminaria. So we can highlight that.
Well, the next meeting should be on October 1st.
Oh, can revisit the date.
You agree with me, everybody here? That's the first Wednesday in October. Luminaria is on the 17th, which is a Friday. You wanna like meet, as they said, 4:30, and then afterwards come here?
Yeah.
We'll have a lot of fun together, 2 or 3 hours of companionship. Bug bites.
Sounds good.
Right, okay.
You want to make it 4?
4 and then 6 over here.
Yeah, that give us a little more time if we want to go far afield.
Yeah, it would be good, because by then Dick will know perfectly what we're gonna do for the walk. We can give everybody an orientation
And a job.
and promote all of your involvement in there. We use our new marketing money to,
Okay.
so mark your calendar, please. The next meeting is the 1st of October, 4 o'clock walk, 6 o'clock meeting.
You see, like, Google one.
October 1. Okay, anything else? Oh, number 2.
Number 2, this is for Mark. With all the stuff going on with the executive orders and this type of thing. And we have a new fiscal year starting up. Has anything come down? Says mandates at the national level that would impact us, it would impact you and your staff as far as using funding because of not having.
Yes.
That you know.
No, but what the town council has done is the CIP, most of the CIP projects have been deferred until December. When they hope that there's some clarity coming out of Washington DC.
That's a big one.
And then, I guess the big concern is education funding. And so if the education funding that the town currently receives is impacted by changes that are taking place in Washington, the CIP projects would all be canceled. And that money would go towards the Board of Ed to help balance their budget. So,
Nothing would be impacting you right now as far as your staff,
no,
maintenance and all that kind of stuff.
no, it would just be the proposed FY 26 projects. And there was only 2 projects that weren't deferred until December. One was replacing the stairs at Snake Hill Park, which is in Noank. It's a long set of stairs that goes down off of Water Street, Water.
Rattlesnake
Water,
Hill, yeah.
Hill, yeah. So there's a really old set of stairs that need to be replaced, and then There was one other project that was not deferred until, in other words, the money, assuming that it passes the RTM, the money would be available July 1 for that project and one other project, and I can't think of what that other project is. But other than that, no, we're not aware of any loss of funding that would impact department operations. It's strictly projects at this.
Some of that money you're talking about is probably the money that that's good to educate the.
Yeah, because it's a military
Yeah.
community, there's.
I mean, it could be a hell of a lot of money.
Uh, yeah, it's in the millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But,
Who knows what's gonna happen, if they shut down the education department?
right, yeah,
Has it impacted you at all, Jim, at this point?
That, I have a feeling it has, but the upper management of the college is not shared. Mainly because I'm not sure they 100% know. You know, we can have Pell grants, we can have this, we can have that, so.
well, and it changes every day.
Yeah.
You shake your little.
You got
thing,
really
see what
what
goes
you're-
to the top.
Yeah.
I forget what those are called, but you know, and then, oh, I guess today I'm gonna do this, and then the next day you shake it. Oh, I guess I'm gonna do this.
Governance by tweet.
Any comments you can made, right, John? Well, I know Tom was here earlier, and he's, I know they're working from the north towards the south because they've run into, you know, the Groton utilities hurdle. And, but I know they're doing work in Preston and in Ledger. But I don't, beyond that, I don't know the details of what exactly they're doing.
Still a live bill, but moving ahead, that's it's the best.
Yes,
we should get an article from time to time in the day, but I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
It seems like a decade.
Oh, it's been more than a decade. Any other business? Jim, you're full of emotions.
Off of things.
Can you notice from the projected time, we only went over 2 minutes with the,
Oh, he wasn't here. He usually
That's
gets,
it. That's
he had a lot to say, so.
That's pretty, that's a good thing.
It is.
Hey, let's see.
Well, say for them. You could open in 2008. You drive by on Wednesday. There's so many cars there. The place is packed and it's worn out. And there's places, there's parts that I haven't placed because they're so expensive. And it just doesn't make sense. So spend $30,000 and then.
He put that night because you figured out either.
And then,
Well,
you know, the splash pad is
I've
something.
got it somewhere. If I didn't put it in my electronic.
Or
Or maybe I did, maybe I just used Cindy as a crutch, so she was good staying on top of this.
They keep them in hands. I just went through my stuff. I thought, very
Oh,
nice.
okay.
A little confusing with multiple conversations, huh?
Her and
You got 3 or
very, Joe.
It'd be very hard to take notes on what's being said.
I can't tell if we've adjourned or not.
I know.
I'll send you some of that grant stuff, this is family foundation.
Actually, we have.
Local families foundations that we support. So the city spectrum.
Well, whether we've adjourned or not, we're ignored is what
That's, that's right. Well, we're the outside of the conclave, right?
that's right. Yeah. We don't have anything to say about the
Right.
color of the smoke.
Get over here. It's a rock city kind of like-
John, are we adjourned?
Yes, all right.
All righty. Well, nice to
Thank
see
you all.
everybody. Alan, have a good night. You
Good
back
night,
to
all.
changing diapers?
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Good.
All right.